Everybody, Todd Peters here, Director of Admissions at West Catholic High School. I'd like to welcome you to the very first episode of Shout It From the Hilltop, where we talk everything West, get to know our community a little bit better. This morning, on our very first episode, I have a very special guest that we're going to get to know a little bit more. He is our international director, as well as our theology teacher, ESL teacher. I would like to welcome Mr. Ryan Corcoran.
Thank you very much, Todd. It's great to be here. I'm so honored to be on the first episode of Shout It From the Hilltop. This is great.
I think you have, Ryan has a great story about how he ended up at West Catholic and kind of what brought him there, what called him to West. And so I want to turn that over to you. Just share with everybody, really what brought you to West, what really called you to move to Grand Rapids, Michigan, into the snow, being a Southern California guy, and joining this community.
Yeah, for sure, Todd. So yes, I am from Southern California. I grew up in San Diego. Then I went to university. I got my bachelor's at Franciscan University of Steubenville in Ohio. So that was my first experience with winter. And then I met my wife there. My wife is from Greenville, Michigan. We moved together to China. We lived there for 2 years and taught ESL university there. So that's my specialization. That's my teaching specialization is English as a second language or English as a learned language. And then we moved to Spain and we lived there for 3 years. And towards the end of our time living in Spain, we knew we were going to go someplace else and we didn't know where we were going to go next. And we were praying about it and talking about it probably in about January of that year. So we had a few months to decide what we were going to do next. And we both really felt like the Lord was calling us to Michigan, which is kind of weird because I'm not a big fan of the snow. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that before. I try not to complain too much about it, but so I was like, all right, Lord, okay, Michigan. And my brother-in-law, Peter Reno, used to work in the tech department at West Catholic High School. And he said, Ryan, there's a theology teaching position open. So I'd never heard of West Catholic before. I just knew that was where my brother-in-law worked, but I didn't know anything about the school. So I started to do some research and I found a couple of YouTube videos that really, really impressed me. The first one was of a Eucharistic flash mob where a priest is walking through the hallways and all the students are falling down, like kneeling before the Blessed Sacrament. And I watched that and I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, there's something special going on at this school. This is not a normal Catholic school, at least that I had experienced. And then I watched another video of the football team. The football team's all in a huddle and they're talking about how their victory is for the greater glory of God. And like everything they do is for the glory of God. And again, I was blown away. And I thought, I want to see what's going on there. So I sent in my application and had my interview. I got hired at West Catholic and started working I taught a couple theology classes. I taught our ESL class and I became the coordinator for our international program. And I've been here for 3 years now and it's crazy. It's crazy because every day I kind of grow fonder of this school. I feel, I'm kind of an outsider in that I grew up in Southern California and I don't have a lot of ties to Michigan other than my wife's family. But West Catholic really provided me with a community. And here I am 3 years later. I didn't expect to even be here this long. And here I am, still here.
From a teaching standpoint and having a passion for teaching and working with the kids, what is your favorite part about your day? What is your favorite thing that you enjoy most about teaching?
It's definitely interacting with the students. But in particularly of interacting with the students, it's probably at the times where I get to kind of be candid with the students and something happens in class that really sparks an interest or a question. And especially when I'm teaching my theology classes, it's so awesome to see students be like, oh, like something clicked, or like, oh, that's interesting. Now I have a question about it. So I really love really love having questions. I do questions Friday in my religion classes, and I look forward to those every week because I love just like the off the cuff questions, the hard questions that students ask because they're asking because they want to know the answer and it's something important to them. So
any moment in your teaching career that it's like that one core moment of your like you have in your life, your core moments through your life, right? Thinking of the cartoon movie Inside, right? We all have these core moments. That is there any moment in teaching that you're just like you always go back to it? It's like that shining moment of like one of the greatest moments you've ever experienced.
I think it was my first semester teaching in China. I had a student who I really connected with, and he would give me feedback about my teaching very candidly. He'd be like, and honestly, that is the moment I go back to. Like, I so appreciate when students tell me how I'm doing, and when students get like, I'm learning this, I'm not learning this. So that I wouldn't say that one moment, but over the course of that semester, that student and I went back and forth, and he really he helped me be a better teacher by giving me constructive feedback and saying, like, this is something that the students aren't getting or aren't understanding. He kind of became a spokesperson for the class. And so much so that now I give surveys after every test, after every unit. I send out a Google Forms survey to my students, asking them for feedback on how their learning was during that unit, like what was beneficial for them. And I think that all started with getting feedback from that student in China that first semester I was teaching.
Outside of teaching, what do you like to do? What do you enjoy? What are your passions? What are you and your family taking part in?
I really love, and this might sound weird, but I really love going for walks. When we lived in China, we didn't have a car. We lived in Spain, we didn't have a car. I really love that lifestyle of walking everywhere. And so I miss it. And so I live close to East Town. And so my wife and myself and my children, we go for walks a lot. That's kind of our fun thing to do. And then watching movies, playing Legos with my kids. Most of the fun things I do are fun things that my kids like to do, honestly.
I just want to thank Ryan for taking time out of his day here, especially on his birthday, the big 3-1 today. So he is officially in his 30s.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Right, sharing his experience, what brought him to West, what he enjoys about teaching. Anything you want to leave us with? Say to the kids while we're away.
I really look forward to teaching every day. I really look forward to connecting with the students every day. Since we're online now, it's heartbreaking for a lot of teachers to not get to interact with their students. But I think it's so amazing that West is doing what they're doing and bringing students together and teaching with them. And for me, I love hearing my students' voice. I love still getting to see them learn, even though they're at home and we're in quarantine. So yeah, that's what I look forward to. So any students watching this, you bring me a lot of joy when you come to class.
I want to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everybody.
The flaming torch took a bank load or something.
Good job, everybody. Good job.
Yeah.